Welcome to the public hearing on February the 11th, 2021, concerning the special levy bylaw 2006-2021. We will, Anthony will be doing this presentation very shortly. We have Councillor Valentino on Zoom, and we have Councillor Colburn, Councillor Ellsworth, Deputy Mayor Wong, Councillor Lundmark, Councillor Fountain, Councillor McMurdo, Jenny Krentz, Financial Officer, Neil McLean, Public Works, Angela English, Executive Administration, and Anthony sitting over here in the corner. So we will be doing the presentation first. We have no regrets from Councillor Prue. We haven't heard from him yet tonight, so he may join us. And after the presentation, if everybody hasn't signed the form, whether for or against, you will have 5 minutes to speak. And if that isn't enough at the beginning, you can speak after everybody has spoken. But just so that everybody gets a chance, we'll have a 5-minute limit on the first round for the speakers. With that being said, respect for everything tonight, please, for each other and for the process. And how this process works is the speakers will speak after Anthony does. They'll take their turns. Us as council are here to listen to you tonight. We have no comments as such. If we need to clarify one of your questions or something, we may ask for clarification, but that is all the council is here to do tonight. We are not here to council and administration. That's the only thing we're here for tonight. And after this, we then send all the documentation goes to the province, and then we wait for an answer and whether or not it requires a public hearing, or they'll give us the go ahead to go with the second and third reading. So that being said, we'll call on Anthony to do the presentation.
Okay, so this evening's public hearing is to review the special service proposal, so bylaw 2006-2021.
Maybe your banner.
Yeah, we'll wait though, so
Okay.
people online can't see.
Right.
We're just standing by with some technical difficulties.
Technical challenges.
So the introduction here is that owners themselves of any property in town, residential property, are responsible for the operation, maintenance, and repair and replacement of the service lines on the private side of their property. The bylaw 2006-2021 is a special service levy that's proposed to cover the cost of water, storm, sewer line maintenance to residential properties and institutional properties with a 1-inch water line or less. So a little background on the process that we're going through. The Manitoba Municipal Act governs all municipalities. Under section 312L, it says if approved by a bylaw, a municipality may provide as a special service to all or part of a municipality one or more of the following. And section L gives the power for maintenance or operation of a local improvement, which is what this is about tonight. So under this special levy, only properties that are eligible for the program would be paying for the program. So in other words, this excludes retail property. It's only on the institutional, it's not commercial, and it's only residential. So the process that we're going through, council gave a first reading to their bylaw in the month of January. The advertising was done, and tonight we're holding the public hearing. So that's February 11th, 2021. Anyone tonight who objects to this process or objects to the bylaw will be sent correspondence and will have 30 days to object to the municipal board. The city will then also send what was put together to the municipal board. The municipal board will review it, and should they approve it, they'll send it back to council, and council can conduct second and third reading of the bylaw. And that's when you'd hear council debate and provide their opinion on the bylaw. And if it's approved through the second and third reading, the special levy will be included in the 2021 levy bylaw, and the tax, and it would be included onto your tax bill. If it were to be rejected, then basically the bylaw would not pass. It'd have to come back to council for revision, or it would die. So the history of this, what's the background on this bylaw? This isn't a new bylaw. The bylaw that we're looking at tonight is a new number, but something, a bylaw of this kind has been in place since 2010. So bylaw 1826-2010 for the special levy expired in 2015, and it covered the years of 2010 to 2015. Bylaw 1937-2016 covered a period of 2016 to 2020. The reason this came out is back in the past, people typically, if they had a water break on their private property and they didn't have their own insurance or their insurance didn't cover it, they were required to pay a fee for that repair. And a number of people at the time objected that they couldn't afford the large repair that came through. So the council back in 2010 decided that they'd pass a special levy so that it would be more like a group insurance that covers all residents inside the city of Thompson and institutional properties, so that the cost would be shared and there'd be no effect on your personal insurance, and there'd be no, we'll do questions at the end.
No, just to see it on that screen there.
Oh, this screen has an issue where it freezes, so I apologize. From time to time it freezes and then it catches up. The special service is for a specific period of time. So it's not, it has a sunset clause to it. It's basically only for a certain amount of years. And the reason for that is it allows a transparency and it minimizes risk for individuals so that you can review it every so many years. And council can make the determination if they want to proceed with another one again or if they want it to expire. So we're just putting up some data so that you can review here so you can see some of the history of this bylaw in its past iterations. So you'll see that in 2016, there were about 18 breaks. The cost was about $271,519. A levy was collected of $379,000, and there was a surplus that year. The levy amount was $117.00 or 7 cents per household that was on the register. The way it works is that every year, the cost that is levied onto the tax bill is based on the previous year's actual costs. So it's last year's costs. So you'll see that most years, the levy amount fluctuates. Some years it's up to $117, other years it's as low as $69. And for this coming year, once our audits are done, we'll know roughly where it is. I believe it'll be closer to about 80 or closer to 90 some dollars. So it'll be a $17 difference between last year to this year. And same again, just to show the history that it goes back all the way to 2010. You can see also, again, it's fluctuated between $57 up to about $88 in those years, just based on the actual breaks that are shown on the screen. So this is just a map of the 2020 breaks that were incurred in the city. We have data going all the way back beyond 2010, but we're just showing this year. So you can see the number of breaks that occur across the city. And all the ones that are in the light blue are the ones that are on service lines. So these are the ones that those homeowners or institutional properties were covered by this bylaw. And just for an understanding of the coverage of this bylaw, is to within 1 meter of the structure out to the main. So what do we mean by that? 1 meter from the home out to either the wastewater line, the water line, or to the storm sewer. And sometimes those are on the same side of your street. Sometimes they're actually on the other side of the street. So special service, prior to any special service being passed by the city would be 2009. It's just to give an understanding of what it used to look like. So back then it was about $500 for a service repair. And what happened is that's what the city would bill you and the taxpayers would pay the rest of your bill. So it was felt at the time they were going to do an increase to 2,000 to make it more sustainable. And there was an outcry from the community that it wasn't fair that people were paying for that difference and the homeowner wasn't paying a fair amount for that. Back then also, whenever there was any work done on their property, any of those repairs that were done by the city, the private landscaping was the responsibility of the homeowner. And the homeowner was responsible for 100% of the break if it was less than 2 feet from the structure. Moving forward from 2010 onto 2020, and we'll see the 2016 there had the same rules. The fees ranged between, it was that kind of group insurance approach, so that the cost was shared. No one was hit with a large bill. And you can see that the fees range from about $69 to $117 per year. And the levy had been estimated for that time to be $123 to $148. So you can see that when the levy was passed, it was at the high end, but the actuals came in between 69 and 117 rather than the high end that had been estimated. Under the special levies, you can see that again, the homeowner was still responsible for their landscaping, though the city did do things as filling in the hole, leveling that out and seeding it. But anything that had to do with moving a deck or any trees, anything like that was the responsibility of the homeowner. And the homeowner is still was still responsible for 100% if it was less than 1 meter from the structure. And you can see moving forward, virtually the terms are the same for 2021 to 2025, though the new estimated numbers are between 92.56 to 123.42. Those are, again, the high-end numbers. The actuals are what's used for every year. So based on the numbers that we see internally at the city, each repair to a service line costs roughly $6,000 to $15,000, depending on the type of break or the complexity or the materials that are involved or what type of repair it is. The special service levy that we're looking at tonight includes repairs to water, to sewer, or to storm service lines, as well as the backfilling of the hole, the leveling, the seeding, and the replacing of any public sidewalks and roads. So this levy would apply to 3,241 properties, and the maximum charge per year would be for 2021, $92.56, 2022, $100.28, 2023, $107.99, 2024, $115.70, and 2025, $123.42. And of course, if the actual cost is lower for that year than is what is represented, the lowest cost is represented. This is the ceiling, the highest amount per year that the bylaw would allow, should it be needed. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. So now we'll open for questions. When you get up to speak, please say your name. And if, like I said, if you haven't filled out the paper, please do so. Who would like to go first?
We're allowed to ask questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go.
Or,
Okay, my name's Serena. I just have a few questions. So like on the paper here, it includes the repairs include water, sewer main, and the backfilling, the public sidewalks, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So if that break is on the city portion, does that replace driveways, decks, trees? It doesn't replace any of that stuff? The levy, not my side, but your side.
The levy would, no, anything, this levy only, sorry.
Yep.
Apologies.
yeah, no,
This levy only applies to the private property side. So the utility already covers things that are on the city side, is my understanding. But this special levy is for the property that is owned by the homeowner.
so it wouldn't
Okay.
cover the cost of your driveway to be replaced.
So if the water main break was under my driveway and the city is responsible for that repair because of the levy, they're not going to replace my driveway, correct?
I defer to some, yeah.
Neil,
For service lines, no, the special bylaw levy does not pertain to driveways. If there's a water main break, that's not part of this levy.
No, okay, so what I'm saying is if there was a water main break,
okay,
I had like a concrete pad with a gazebo on it, for example, water main break underneath. The city has to come and break up that concrete pad and dig and fix that water main. You're not going to put my concrete pad back, right?
Neil,
That's
That's not a part of the levy. That would be on me.
water mains are not the levy. The service line feeding the house is. So if your service line is underneath that pad, no, that pad is not being replaced. If it's a water main break, which is not part of this levy, it's a main break, that's always like cost under the utility. That is always covered under the.
Okay, but in order to get to it, the water main that the levy's covering, right? The concrete pad would have.
The The levy does not cover water mains. The levy is only for private service
Okay,
lines.
so the service line is under the concrete pad? And you have to dig up the concrete pad?
Yes.
It would be on me to replace it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's frozen, does the city pay to have it defrosted? Or that's on me? Does that levy cover that?
On the service line?
Yeah.
No, we don't cover.
You don't cover
the
that as well?
frozen service, no.
So when there is a service line break that occurs, is there any additional cost other than this levy? Like, is there a dig fee? Is the city gonna come and shut off the water and charge me to shut it off and then turn it back on?
No, during service line repairs, if it's as long as it's not within that 1 meter from your structure,
Right.
there's no extra cost.
There's no extra cost at all? Okay. So I just have a few comments in regards to it. So seeing this levy actually doesn't really cover like the repair of my driveway or gazebo or, because I can buy it on my house insurance, obviously, right? That covers more than what the city's covering. So I pay $35 to my insurance company and then I pay $92 to the city, and there's a huge gray area where in the end, I'm still going to have to pay $4,000 or $5,000 to replace a gazebo or whatever, right? So I was just putting it out there. Thank you.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Worship.
Mhm.
You have to ask if it's in favor or
Well,
against.
yeah, are you in
That's-
favor or
that's the
opposed
beginning of
of
the
the levy?
I'm opposed just because of the gray area that it kind of leaves me in.
Did you sign that
I did, yeah.
in there?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Next,
My name's Ron Matichuk. I'm opposed for several reasons, but one that I'll bring up here tonight is from what I learned back my 4 years on council. Back in the day, it was stated that we did not cover businesses, their properties, simply because the infrastructure on top would be too costly to replace. All of a sudden, I'm seeing this, that we don't replace anything anyways. Why are businesses not included? A hole is a hole is a hole. I argued that 4 years ago, and I argue it today.
thank you, sir. I saw that you had signed your name. Next. Is there anybody on Zoom that is part of this?
Point of order, Madam Mayor.
Councilor-
I think that was a question, and I perhaps does want to answer it, but administration feels so.
Okay, Anthony?
It's not administration, this is council's bylaw. Council has directed us to put this for residential properties only.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I think the reason that it wasn't, businesses weren't, when it was our term of council, that it was deemed that the amount of dollars for a lot of the businesses were bigger lines than that. So it was quite a bit more dollars, and there wasn't enough businesses to support their own levy was one of the reasons. But Neil, did you want to take that further?
We don't have anything for
Okay. Anybody else?
So we'll ask if there's anyone that's on Zoom that is interested in making presentation for or against. If you could raise your hand using the function on Zoom at the bottom. Maybe we could unmute them one by one.
Sure.
Hi, Ian. Graham, did you want to make a presentation for or against? Second call? Third call? Okay. Hi, Navi. Did you want to make a presentation for or against?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Paul. Would you like to make a presentation for or against the bylaw? call, second call. Third call. Okay. Next one's Terry. Oh, she's on? Hello, Terry, did you want to make a presentation for or against the bylaw? Second call? Third call? That's all.
Okay, seeing no more, we'll give a last chance for the room here, if anybody wants to make a presentation for, or, oh, I should also say that I received, this afternoon, we received 2 notices, one from Chu Chong opposing the bylaw, and also from Kevin Taylor opposing the bylaw. They will go all be forwarded on to the municipal branch at the same time. I apologize, I forgot to bring those out. Okay. Council's fine with the comment? Deputy Mayor?
Just wondering, the person on Zoom, are they for or against? Do we know?
It's a public hearing. People do not have to make a presentation for or against. It's open to anyone in the public.
That's why we went to them individually to make sure
That's right.
everybody that was on Zoom.
Good enough, thank you.
Okay. So we've all received their presentation. We've heard the pros and cons. I would like to thank everybody for coming out on this cold night for this presentation. It will now go to the province and we will await their direction. So call for adjournment. Les and Earl, all in favor?